What we have found out is through research, and even most recently with Hawk Walk preparations, that there literally have been facts uncovered that start to develop a factual story that is starting to explain the unexplained. The first thing is this. You can go to Google, and it's common knowledge among our community, and certainly those within the Rutherford County school system, that where our football field is located now, the Morton Cemetery was there. That Morton Cemetery was moved from the south side to the north side. What's happened is this. We have had some strange events that have occurred through our history. We've started to put these together, and facts have occurred. First of all, the movement of the cemetery, the mystery of a 2x2 spot. What was that? And in documentation of the move, it never was moved. We have circumstances where at night, with lead custodian and night custodians, they have heard voices, they have heard the horse hooves, they have heard 2 girls' voices at night in this school. Even now, the only reason I'm in this area of the school is because this is an area where these pipes, usually normally you could not touch them because of the heat that runs through them. I am freezing cold in here now, and obviously can touch these. There is a presence and strange happenings that are occurring. To understand these and more, we have to start with the history of a young man. Reuben Edward Devereaux was a 14-year-old Louisiana kid who unfortunately his family tragically died because of the typhoid. Not only his family, but also 2 girl sisters. From there, he was known to be a horse whisperer. He ended up traveling up the Natchez Trace in Nashville, selling horses at a young age with a buyer that he traveled with. He met Colonel Morton. Colonel Morton is the same Mr. Morton before the Civil War that the road is named after. That's the Morton Cemetery that was at the football stadium location. December the 31st, 1862, Battle of Stones River. Reuben, it was the end of the day, fighting was stopping, concluding, and yet he sensed something from the shadow of his horse. When he looked up, there were 3 cannons that he noticed were preparing to fire. He went yelling to warn the officers, and of course Colonel Morton was one of those. They were able to ride away, but in Reuben's ride, unfortunately, he was hit and decapitated. Now follow with me, October 31st, 1863. Those that were moving around Stones River ended up finding 2 things. Reuben's and a hat. The hat, in unearthing it on the move, a hat was found. They didn't know what it was about because documentation is so stringent, they had to go ahead and give that to someone. When the school opened, I received a hat, thought nothing of it, and put it away. What has occurred since we found this story is we've gone back, I've looked at the hat, thinking when I first saw writing inside the hat that it might be that of Reuben Edwards. It was not. However, referring back, did y'all catch that? Referring back to Reuben Edwards' father, the initials we found were E.Q.D. Edward Quincy Devereaux. That was Reuben's father, and the hat that he wore was his father's hat. That's how they knew it was him. The facts are simply this. Anyone can look. You know the cemetery was there, you know it was moved. Reuben James Devereaux was buried there. 10 months later, the rest buried. But what documented in the movement is something did not make that move. To this day, strange occurrences are happening. I don't know whether you believe in the paranormal or whether I do either. But the point is, we know there are factual occurrences that are happening here at Stewarts Creek High School. Is it an unsettled spirit? Are the 2 voices, those are the 2 sisters of Reuben that are literally being heard? And even the footage, the most recent And we've started to verify that most of the occurrences, it increases in the month of October. And with the latest footage of what we've seen that is totally unexplainable, how can we rule out the obvious? One final thought. Many of you have noticed, and it's been talked about in detail by blacktop road specialists. We have one of the newest parking lots that's already had to be redone in spots because of strangeness, and it's not weather related or water related, where the concrete or blacktop is breaking up. One of the most severe spots is right on the corner where our football stadium is, almost as if defined by someone. They're taking a sledgehammer and hitting horses, gravesite, the pounding of hooves that are being heard. In early history, this land, before we disturbed it, was called Cedar Woods and became known as the haunted area. Directly north to south, roads went around this area because they would not go through it because it was known to be a place of circling red hawks, but nothing and no one would go through because of the strange occurrences. Unexplained, but facts are coming together. I only present this to say, open your mind and let us together share information you have. We must look at the facts. I heard that. Cut it off. Cut it off. Cut it off.